going on, everybody? So I wanted to finally got some time to do a little bit of a recap here. Actually, I need to open up these pages. Got my daily, not my monthly, my weekly. Got enough time to go over trades on the week. Don't have too many trades, I guess. Really, you could call this one trade. This is another trade. So about what 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So about 5 trades on the week in total. The rest of them are just kind of like ads. Actually, that's a lie. This is an opening range play, and then this is another trade. So it's more like 6 trades. Yeah, about 6 trades. Pretty good on the week. Up $500 with that loss today. Pulled me down below, I guess, what could have been my best week ever, which is definitely always pretty good. Win rate's getting higher every time. I seem to be taking really good trades that are just kind of giving me the wins that I'm really trying to get out of stuff. 7 for 9, 3 winning days. Commission's $50. Definitely higher on the commissions. I think I traded a lot more shares than usual. Looks like 700 is my biggest position size. 2,800 shares on the week. That's not too bad, but I guess it's bad enough. Was pretty compliant. I don't think I really made any mistakes on any of these trades. I know Oracle was a loss, just gonna happen. Goose was a loss. I mean, that's the first gap and go loss that I've taken, and I don't even know how long. I guess I've been waiting for a loser on one of them finally. We'll get to it in the review though. So really just getting straight into it. Looks like I took IQ for a gap and go trade here. Pulled 233 out of it. I did not hit my profit target. It might have been just because of the issues of taking my profits. Better go back to it here. Alright, so IQ. I remember looking at this trade, trying to get long on it. I remember that it was taking out as soon as I clicked on it, it was already starting to make the move, so I had to put in my order pretty quickly. I just clicked the buy button, got in at 54. Makes a good move. Always wanting to see that. So I took a little bit off as it started struggling around this 85, and my profit target was 34.90. So I mean, it pretty much got there. But this is your best gap and go that I could possibly get. Just takes off immediately, doesn't want to turn around. I mean, even that partial that I took there, I mean, we haven't pulled back below the 80s at all yet. So I mean, whenever I take these trades, I should be looking for little spots where it looks like it doesn't want to break. So I mean, we just got through 80, didn't want to break 80. Now I'm taking the good partial, so I mean, I took these two off way too early. I mean, yeah, it slowed down a little bit, but I want to read what I wrote about it too. 80 cents right away seemed to stall for a second, so it could go partials with majority size still. Move higher. Yeah, definitely no reason I should have been taken off there. So now just watching the tape, it's looking like 87 was the last spot that held. So if it breaks there, it was 86. Take some more off. And then I need to keep finding spots where it keeps pulling back to and fails to break it. And then I should keep taking partials as it moves towards new high days. Each time it makes that push, I want to keep taking off. So I only got 50 shares left. I mean, 50 shares isn't really gonna do too much for me. I mean, it's gonna take $2 to get another $100 out of it. So really, 50 shares is just super small size. I don't really remember what it did for the rest of the day. So yeah, looks like right after that point there is when it just turned off immediately. So the mistake on that one was absolutely just taking partials too early. You write it down. I mean, really, just going back and watching the tape. Now that I'm going back and watching the tape, I can see pretty clearly that there really is no reason for me pulling out. So it's making new highs. It's good. So now I need to be looking for a spot where it wants to hold, and if it doesn't hold, then I can take some off. So right now, 80's holding. 80's holding. There's no problem with 80. It hasn't reached my profit target at 90. So until it hits 90, I need to still hold. Still holding 80. No problems. Still holding 80. Still holding 80. And since it's not breaking it, well then, there's no need for me to be getting out. So I need to write that down too. Gap and goes. So gap and goes, look for prices that are holding to take partials or keep holding for higher moves. My first partial that I took on this trade definitely should be right now, as it's breaking above this 90. So now should be my first partial right there. As soon as it flashed 87 like that, take my first partial. Hold the rest, wait for another spot. Right now it looks like that 87 was the last, so let's flash 86 again. Huge sellers, busted right through it. Keep taking partials. Alright, so there was the gap and go. Why did it open up a new player? Alright, so next day was Twitter, and I took an opening range breakout down, and then was my SMB VWAP trades on it. So the opening range play, about a 1-to-1. Profit target's 43.43. I don't know what is going on with VLC, but it is not as fast as it used to be. Risk is 42.82. So it looks like back at VWAP is where my risk was. I remember going back over this one as well. I told myself, after this trade, I looked back at all my opening range plays, and they're pretty much the same as the gap and goes. They either go in my favor or they really just ever so slightly go back against me. So for the most part, I am 90% positive on these trades. If it starts pulling back against me, you know, same situation, even halfway to my risk, then that's just another cue that it's probably not going to be a winner. So I'm trying to get it to 43.43 because I'm risking about 40 cents on it. Really, I could have risked 20 to try and make 20. And that absolutely would have worked out just fine. So I got my order in for 650 at high day at 12. Breaks out above, but I'm not filled yet. So it's definitely struggling at this 20. Pulls back and gets me in though at 13, which is fine. I'm definitely okay with that. Still just looking for spots that it's holding, so it looks like 10 cents was the last place that it held pretty hard. So now it's just a matter of waiting and seeing what it wants to do. So again, back at this 20. Still struggling, but it's an opening range, and I know that I do want to give it a chance for a retest like it's doing now. So it did break that 10 and it got down to 09. So now if it's going to break underneath that 09 is when I need to be a little concerned about if this trade's going to work or not, because it's had multiple opportunities to get above this 24 area. It's failed plenty of times, so if it's going to fail, a third time, and it chops down against me, then I need to be a little more cautious about how long I want to hold on to this trade. So we got down to 10, and there's a big buyer down there. Somebody really bought it up. So I think at this point in the trade that because it's taken so long, I've been struggling so long around that 20 area, that if it does get back up there again, then it might be time to think about taking maybe an early partial in this case. Because this time it has shown me a bunch of times that it doesn't like that area. But gotta trade what you see, not what you think. And so we're up here again for 5th, 6th retest. Still a bunch of sellers up there. And it looks like this time we got more buyers too on the bid. And then we finally break up above it. Could be looking to take a little bit off up around this 30. And I do. That's fine, but now I should be waiting, since we just finally broke out of that, I should be waiting to see what new low it wants to put in. I haven't really seen anything yet. But as it keeps pushing towards new high day, looks like I took 3 partials there, pretty much taking half off. So it's looking like 33 is the spot. 32. And then we start touching the 40s. Back down to the 30s and the 20s. Back up into the 40s. Still holding that 350, which is good. And now I should be looking to take some more partials. Take one off. Take it into strength. I need to train myself to start taking it into strength rather than as it pulls back against me. So we got up to 54, it looks like. And again, I should be looking for a place where it's going to hold, take more partials, or take more off as it pushes towards higher day. And take another up here. Take it off. Waited for a little bit there. Got at 57. Probably could have gotten it maybe 59, maybe 60. Looks like we're coming back to the mid 40s again. Still holding it pretty well there. And again, if it keeps just wanting to push higher and higher, just keep taking partials as it makes a new high. And then I was all out up at the top there. So it's a pretty decent trade. I think again, same situation, a couple of these partials were just a little too early. I never really gave it a chance to tell me where a new spot was going to be, which I assume would have been probably the 25s, but I don't know, maybe that wasn't that bad because just of how long it was taking and how much 25 was holding for it. So then the next trade that I took was that S&P View app trade. Profit target 43.75, so about high a day, I'm assuming is where this is going to go. Yeah, about 74 there. So Twitter, definitely looking really good. It's consolidating very nicely. This 20 is finally catching up with it. VWAP's holding really well. Just looks like I put my entry in as it was breaking out of this 40 area, so I got in at 40 with 150. Super small risk. What is it, like 25 cents about? Profit target is looking at high a day. I'll probably go 2 times speed on these. Probably go faster than that. Oh, come on. I guess DLC cannot handle 3 times. And I only took 2 entries on this. So at some point, just, yeah, right about here. So it makes move higher. Come on. Makes move higher, gets stalled by this 60. Pulls back a little bit. Kind of consolidates a little bit lower underneath. But I have an earlier entry, it looks like, after this 10 o'clock here. I want to see what I wrote about it. So we definitely have a new stop loss here at this 30. And another place to add at this 50. You can kind of see how there's a little bit of consolidation in here. And it looks like there was a large buyer that was buying as it kept dipping down. Probably this candle here. After we broke the new consolidation, we made a push straight for high a day and the whole number. This entry is really good entry here. We just went straight for it. Broke out of this 62, which is definitely very good. SPY ain't helping too much. Then again, Twitter didn't look like it had been bothered by SPY at all. So now we're close to high a day here. I'm looking to take a little bit off. That's a stop order. That's not what I want. Huh, I took it anyway. At 50. No, that's not the right thing. There we go. Okay. So now it's making new high a day. I should definitely be looking to take some off. Because that's where my profit target was, but I'm still holding. Still holding. Kind of the same thing with the gap and go in the opening range plays. You're looking for a spot that's holding, and then if it does decide to break, then you know you've got a good exit there. So right now it's 91. 91 was holding really well. And there it is. I took some off. And it's a pretty strong move straight through high a day. So maybe I should be a little more wanting to take my profits up here, because this isn't a scalp really. So I do believe that I'm holding, waiting for the market to tell me where a new stop loss spot is. You know, if I wanted to keep adding into this trade, I can keep adding into it. So it looks like 70 is definitely the new spot for a new stop loss. I mean, if I really wanted to, I could add back into this. But I did write Twitter was very overextended both daily and intraday. I guess it's pretty overextended. I haven't looked at the 5-minute, but I'm sure the 5-minute looks pretty overextended. And we also got the whole number coming up. I don't know. I think it probably was a good idea to hold on to this because the stock is at all-time highs. It blew right through its previous high day like it was nothing. It's got really good volume behind it, so it's definitely a good idea to take some off, which I think I definitely did that right. And then holding on to the rest like I'm doing is probably a good idea too because everything's really green. I mean, the stock's really green. But I should definitely be looking to take a partial close as it makes another new high day up here because we got the whole number. And I was just saying earlier, everything's pretty overextended, so take another partial is good. And so now at this point, I got 100 shares left, waiting for the market again to tell me if it's going to put in a new stop loss. But I'm pretty sure at this point I changed it to a close below the 9 EMA. Because that 44 and that 99 was holding pretty well. I'm pretty sure we didn't break it. I wanted to hold this last 100 to see if it did break 44, and then I'd take my last partial up above it. And 99's holding pretty well. So definitely plan at this point is to either just get out or take profits above it. I'm always going to wait for a close on this one. And either it does or it doesn't. Alright, and I get the close and I finally get all out. So that's a pretty good trade. First entry right off the view app, kind of a view app bounce play. Makes a new high, push high. Fails to move lower, definitely gives me another really solid entry for adding my second size. And then just look to take profits as it gets towards my profit target. And I mean, the thing never stalled at my profit target, so really there's no reason not to hold on to it until it gives me a new pullback like it did here. Really trying to maximize what I can get out of these trades because everything about it was really bullish except towards the end here, which I definitely took profits where I should be taking profits. So that was a good trade. I'm pretty happy about that one. Okay, quick break. Etsy took another SMB view app trade on it with a couple of early entries on it. I think Etsy might have been my best trade of the week, at least what I would consider to be my best trade of the week. What is going on? My computer is popping windows up all over the place. Alright, so we got Etsy. Alright, so Etsy, I remember, wrote very bullish on Etsy from pre-market and it being at all-time highs. Was hoping to see a strong open, but it faded slightly before breaking and holding strong above view app. So definitely holding strong above view app. Really good volume on it. I remember I wanted to get an entry. Where was I looking at it? Come on. I was looking to get an entry out of it, kind of right in here, but I wanted to wait till it pulled back a little further because I think ultimately I wanted to get it close to view app, but I think I just missed my opportunity on it. But I ended up taking 100 shares. Looks like the best thing I could do was 39 at the time. I waited for it to hold view app. It's definitely holding view app. Plan at this point is either I'm going to stop out below it and re-add if it wants to move higher, or just for the super small loss, or if it wants to take off from here. Kind of the same deal as the Twitter trade. Ultimate profit target is at high of day. We're going to be looking to take off. Pick up the pace here. I gotta leave soon. So I do have a stop order in. And then I have another order in as it breaks out of this consolidation up in here, which it did very quickly. What happened? Did I miss it? I must have missed it and I had to retime it to get back in. So my second entry, still giving me a good risk-reward scenario here. He's just taking off at this point. Definitely really good volume. And then now at this point, I'm waiting for it to show me where a new stop loss might be, or just take profits at my profit target, whichever one happens. So it looks like we're stalling around this 42 here. So now it's looking like a good spot to, from a new stop loss and a new entry. So if I want to go tier 3 for a break above this whole number here, it's definitely a good opportunity, because then my risk is simply just below this here. Yeah, I already got my order in. So I remember at this point, I just threw that order in before the break, because at this time, SPY just blew up. I mean, you can see it's at 0.77 here, and then in the next minute, we're already at a point. So I mean, SPY was blowing up, everything was blowing up at this point. So I definitely had a really early entry on it, trying to get pretty aggressive. And then as it makes the new high, or close to the new high a day, I'm looking to take some off, because we pretty much came in contact with it. And then we just kept pushing, took another, it's probably a little late on that one. And then same situation with my last share size, just waiting, either new high a day or new stop loss. I mean, it's the same situation with that Twitter trade. I can look to re-enter again as it pushes higher, because it is at all-time high. I took last, that might have been a mistake there, because this originally was my stop loss, and this only recently just turned me negative on that last share size there, or tier. So I think that last partial was a mistake. I took it off at break even when I should have held. Because after that point, I'll skip Oracle for now. At that point, I mean, it just took off. I I mean, it gave me a really nice scenario to not only hold on to that last share size, but add in again. Because you can kind of see it's consolidating at the high of day again. I can just add as it breaks that, and then just perfect. Just never even touched the 9 EMA until about 2 points later. So I mean, that's 100 shares minimum that there was no reason for me to get out. There's no pullback. There was no nothing. So it's definitely, Etsy was definitely a trade where I should have looked to add back in, because I think that's what I need to work on next week too. So a new goal, add back into winners at high of day if it calls for it, such as Twitter and Etsy. So the other trade that I took was on Oracle. Oracle was kind of the weird one because it's kind of the same thing where it consolidates a VWAP, but in this case it consolidated for far too long a VWAP. Here, ultimately, is probably the best entry I could have asked for because we still have the 50 coming down on it, but at this point it's just too much chopping around. It's too much, just a little bit of everything. It was too long. It didn't move as fast as I would have liked it to, but I ended up going for it anyway. Lesson learned after the fact, I guess. I mean, I was in and out just immediately. I shorted 500 shares as it broke underneath that 34 level, and my stop loss was above this here, and then, I mean, it absolutely faked me out. I mean, anybody that's going short in here is going to get stopped out, and I mean, from this point, it just kept moving higher, I think, for the rest of the day. If not the rest of the day, for the next 20 minutes or so. I mean, just straight to it. Straight to 45 out with a $60 loss. So, I mean, it was definitely, risking. I don't want to risk everything that I was making on the day. I'm reading the playbook, and Mike Bellafiore tells his traders, they have a 30% give back rule. Whatever you make in the morning session, you don't want to give back more than 30%. And, I mean, I gave back about 50%, but I think I'm going to put my own twist and rules on it. I think I'm going to make mine 40% instead of 30, because I do want to have that opportunity to be a little more aggressive, because I feel like I've gotten to that point that I can start doing stuff like that. But I guess only time will tell. And then last trade I took today was Goose. I did a little recap of it. I mean, it was a really good setup for a gap and go. It was consolidating at the highs up here towards this 56. This says 23, but it was about 56 back here. So what I really want to see it do is make a little push here, pull back again, and then I could take it long over the high of day at that 50 if it got up there. But we only got to about 24, it looks like, is my entry. So really I'm taking it right into resistance, but I know with the volatility and the volume behind these trades, more often than not, doesn't really mean too much. Because, I mean, it's a quick scalp trying to get in and out of these trades and just see what happens. But Goose gets up there, it gets me in, doesn't really do too much of anything. And as I look later, you can see there's a hidden seller at this 40. See, it says 41, no one's on the 40 yet, besides these guys in here. And then you see all these, it's 2,900, 100, 100, 100. So, I mean, I didn't catch it in real time, but there's definitely a hidden seller right there. I just didn't notice it. And if I did notice it, what I immediately should have done is I should have taken my profits right where I had them and then put in another new order entry above that 40 in case it does want to break and make another push even higher. But I really think I should have been a little more, conservative with my risk, because, who knows how big that guy is. Who knows if it's ever going to break him or not. I mean, we didn't break him. We never even got back to that point, and then it actually set up for a really good opening range breakout down, which is also going to be another new goal for my next week here, is opening range breakouts against the gap. And obviously, just because it's gapping up doesn't mean it's going to go up. I think in more cases than not, if it does gap up, it will want to keep continuing moving, but there's always situations where it might not want to. So, I mean, in Goose's case, it was up, like 25, 30%. Yeah, 30. It ended up moving higher. It did get up there. I mean, that's much later in the day, but I mean, how often is, a 30% gap up that sustainable? I mean, the thing's been really on a tear ever since it IPO'd, and then we just had this huge gap up here. I mean, who knows about all the people that are trying to take profits in here? I mean, that's probably what happened here, is this is all profit taking right here. So, I mean, that's an opening range play that really could have worked, because, I mean, it was really good looking. Just this little, right here at this 58 short, it's perfect. So that's kind of where I'm at on the week. So let's see, mistakes, took partials way too early. On gap and go trades, I need to look for prices that are holding to take partials or keep holding for higher moves as it pushes towards a new high a day. Then Etsy, my third tier, I took off at break even when I should have held. Other mistakes include not adding to winners after I'm all out. And then new goals is add back winners at high a day, and then opening range plays against the gap is also something I'm gonna start working on. So pretty good review session. Always worth it. Not gonna be back on Monday. I'll be back on Tuesday. So definitely hoping to keep this green streak going. And thanks for watching.